How can I help?
I have a 13-year-old daughter, and today was a bad day, which isn't the first of bad days, but I
Mm,
blew up with her this morning because she wouldn't get up and get moving, which is our norm for her. She has difficulty sleeping at night, and due to fear, but she doesn't do her schoolwork, she doesn't do her chores, but I'm upset with me for doing what I hate and talking to her the
mm,
way I talk to her when I finally say things at the
yeah,
wrong time.
yeah, that's easy to do, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, how, uh, tell me how to help. What is it you need?
Well, I feel like in a stuck spot. So what I see, but it's the same pattern all the time. Um, she has her issues. I don't know why I get to the point where I blow, but I think I hold it in too long. And I don't know what other tools to try to navigate her into, persuade her into changing and getting her stuff done. And the bigger problem is, it happened with my oldest daughter too, is their father just constantly yells at me for fighting with the kids when I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming, I am just trying to get them to do what they need to do.
Mm.
So I feel
And so he
that kind
is, well, you don't feel like y'all have a good partnership in requiring the same thing from the kids, right?
of right. He just says, well, they promised me they do it and they lie, so and then he gets to leave the scene. I get to trying to figure out
Yeah,
how to make this happen.
yeah. I think is he open to talking about it?
Not really, no. Our oldest is 25, so
So there's just one at home now. It's a 13-year-old.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Um, so if you said to him, I need your help, can we talk about what we're going to do with Susie? I need your help. I'm really struggling. What would he say?
He says that um, they just need to not do anything. And for example, she's also a different learner, so we have a hard time getting her to a proper school. Besides the fact she wouldn't get out of bed, but and he's just let him suffer and send him back to where our local school, which actually had asked her to leave. She's a gifted learner, so she just thinks differently. I know, and he thinks I just make that up to be an excuse, but she was diagnosed with um, that and the issues that come with it when she was in kindergarten. And by third grade,
Well,
the school asked us to leave. So it's
I don't. I'm not aware of particular gifts that would make somebody not get out of bed on time. See,
yeah,
we're talking about two different issues here. You know, one of the things you're talking about, it sounds like, is um, is having her be able to, you know, have a list of expectations that she performs, right? And how clear are those, and how big is the list, and how do you how does the list come together that you guys say, okay, you know, here's what I need you to do, and here's what's going to happen, and blah 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 blah. How do y'all come up with that?
she just has basic has to take care of her clothes, and she simply has to do her schoolwork. She does online schooling, so there isn't a whole lot that she is required to do. Um,
And
but she's
are
not allowed
you?
to be on
She's not allowed what?
her phone and electronics until things are done, which doesn't work when you're doing online schooling.
Well, they don't work unsupervised, right? If she
Right,
cheats, right? And
right.
so here's I'm gonna give you the big picture formula, and then, you know, unfortunately we're kind of out of time, but I'm gonna give you some things to go think about. The first thing I would do is I really would try to make another attempt to talk to your husband and say I'm really struggling. I come from a place of need, like you need help, and I mean, if he really says, I don't care, let her struggle, then I would say to him, so are you really telling me that you don't care what happens to our daughter? I mean, I really want you to, not from a anger or criticism way, but clarifying and showing him you're really hearing him. And is that really what he wants? Does he really want for her to, is that what you're saying? And really get him to the place where, because probably what he's going to say is, well, no, but there's nothing else we can do. And so then you can say, so what you're telling me is you kind of feel like I do. You kind of feel like it's your wits end. We don't know what to do. And if you can get agreement on that, then you can probably get agreement on, well, let's get some help, because this is something that, a good adolescent therapist, or coach or something could really, really help. And I think he needs, and you guys need some help to get aligned on the same page. That's first.
Yeah.
Secondly, what I would do with her is I would sit down and I would start with, we're in conflicts. I'm sorry I yelled at you. And I just get frustrated, but I would back up, especially if you've been in this conflict for a while. And I would back
Yeah.
up and I would ask her, you know, you're 13, right? And you're about to enter the time where you're really, really, really going to be more and more in charge of yourself than me in charge of you. That's what being a teenager is learning how to be in charge of yourself. And that's going to be gradual and, it'll come at different stages and different freedoms and different responsibilities. But before we do any of that, I want to know, tell me about your tell me about your dreams for the next couple of years. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to be doing? What what makes you happy? And I would see if I could get back with her and become a partner in her vision for her life. And life to a teenager, what does that mean? Well, next week, right? But kind
Yeah.
of the next year or whatever. And I'd want to know, what do you want to see happen in certain areas, What do you want to see physically, like how you feel, and what do you see, what kind of relationships you want to have, who you want to hang out with, what kind of groups, who's important to you, what kind of mentors, and then what are some goals? And I would back up and I would try to get a vision with her for where she wants to go. And then from there you can say, okay, well, if that's going to happen, what steps are going to be in the way? And one of those is going to be certain school requirements. And I would try to make this where you're getting some requirements that actually load on her accomplishing some things with you as a partner that she wants to accomplish. And then if she does certain things, then she gets obviously certain rewards to be able to go the next step. And if she doesn't, then she doesn't. So the electronics things, for example, and I would make those very specific and have to reduce them down as far as you have to reduce them. Say, she's not allowed to be on electronics until she does her schoolwork. Well, what does she do? She goes up in her room and she goes on electronics and doesn't do her schoolwork. Well, I guess, I want to give you freedom and responsibility. Those have got to be equal. But if you can't be responsible in the way of being free to have your computer in your room and do it, then I guess you're only going to get to use your computer at the kitchen table until you finish that module. And then you can go up and do the stuff you want to do. So you get it down to where the requirements are very, very small. And when she gets through that requirement, then she gets more freedom. And I would start that way, and I'd probably get some help. And also, I gave a little example. I'm sorry we got to go here, but I gave an example earlier about with teenagers. They're going to go like this in their behavior. We have to stay here. So if you tie a boat to a dock and you tether it too tightly and the waves go up and down, the dock's going to be bouncing all over the place. It might even break. like this morning, you experienced it broke, right? I lost my temper. You got to give it enough line where it can't drift out to sea, but it's going to go up and down, and we stay stable. Don't get too happy when they're happy and things are going great, like all of life's problems are over, and don't get too down when things are going down. What we have to do is be stable and enter in and help them negotiate that scene. So, sorry, couldn't talk further on that, but my heart goes out to, these painful moments that we have as parents. Everybody has them, you go through them, but they can be really, really painful. So, I hope you get some good resolution on this. We wrote a book called Boundaries with Kids that you might find helpful. And also, if you go to boundaries.me, there's a lot of things on there. A lot of things. There's several. I can think of a bunch of different courses that would load on this immediately, and check that out.